My daughter's neck could have been broken and she could have been dead. Ava's bleeding. The driver does nothing. He never looks back or gives her any first aid. My 8-year-old daughter is bleeding and in pain.
News, current events, politics, and everything in between. This is your #1 source for finding out the truth. Never censored, never apologetic, and always patriotic. You're tuned in to the Patriot Perspective with the people's proud patriot, Alan Lee. What is up? It is Alan Lee, your proud patriot here. We have a doubleheader here today on this Friday, live shows. First up is Selvig. He's going to be explaining exactly what happened to his daughter on a Penn-Trafford school bus. But before we get into that, smash the like button and make sure you subscribe and click the bell so that you get notified every time we do a show. And don't forget, we're right now in the middle of the 12 days before Christmas giveaway. And all you have to do to enter is go to our website and join the mailing list. And that's it. You'll be entered to win. There's only a couple days left, so make sure you get your email address listed in our mailing list. Also, keep in mind that if you're interested in becoming a patron partner, then you can head over to our website or just click down in the description link and become a Patriot partner right there. We have a couple different levels. And most of them come right now up until December 24th with a free mug. We also have some that have free t-shirts and all types of cool things like that. So make sure you head over there after the shows are over. But without any further ado, let's get into it. What is up? Thanks for coming on the show, man.
No problem, bud. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, so I came across your video that's quickly going viral, like many of the other Penn-Trafford atrocities have been happening, and immediately obviously the whole mask thing has been a big thing in the news, but this is a little bit different than a mask situation, but I believe that they're kind of all tie into the insane train of thought that the left has, where they're so focused on sticking our kids and making them wear masks, but when actual harm is being done and it's in their faces, they do nothing about it. So before I get some of the backstory, I'm going to play for everyone the clip that I saw of you at the school board meeting. If you just want to set it up a little bit, when it was and things like that, and then we'll get into it.
Yeah, so this Monday is the last school board meeting of this month, this year. And the last school board meeting I spoke at, I didn't want to handle it because it was just too close to the situation. It was literally the Monday after the Friday that this happened. And so I'm thinking, because I did let them know, I said, I'm going to be bringing my issue with my daughter to the table. And I think that they were expecting me to be like, oh, it's been a month. Oh, he's going to be happy. He's going to be nicer. I am not going to be nice. And I'm trying to be as Christian as I can in this video. A lot of people think I'm a nice person. I'm telling you now, I am not a nice person, but I'm trying to leave my old life behind me. These people are making it very hard. Very hard.
All right, so before I even comment on that, because there's a lot, and I'm right there with you, let me play the clip for everybody else so they can see exactly what's going on.
My name's Selvig. I live at 1174 Elliott Road. November 5th, I was on my way to camp out with my son. I get a phone call from my wife. My daughter, Ava, has just been assaulted on a school bus. This is not the first time. My daughter is in 3rd grade. She's 8 years old. I called the police and made a report. I emailed the principal of McCullough. He called me around 7:20 p.m. I asked Mr. Morasti, what will you do to guarantee my daughter's safety? His response is, I can't do anything on the bus. What do you expect me to do? He asked. Once they leave, it's out of my control. I told him I will see the video. He said, okay. Hold on. On Monday, November 8th, my wife, Ava, and I watched a terrifying video. They are on a short bus which has seatbelts. All the kids are standing, including my daughter. They are jumping around seat to seat. A girl pours sugar in Ava's hair. Ava tries to get it out. The girl reaches towards her, but Ava doesn't want her to touch her. Next, they go off camera. Kids begin screaming. They're fighting. The girl unexpectedly grabs my daughter in a chokehold from behind. She slams her head into a seat, nearly knocking a tooth completely out. It came out minutes after she got home. My daughter's neck could have been broken, and she could have been dead. Ava's bleeding. The driver does nothing. He never looks back or gives her any first aid. My 8-year-old daughter is bleeding and in pain. Another student plead with the driver to help her, but nothing. Not once did the driver of 22 years even say, take your seat or calm down. I asked if this girl had a history of bullying. Mr. Morasti lied to me. He said no. I've heard from over 3 other parents claiming this girl has created issues. After that meeting, I got no updates on what was going on. I was left in the dark as if my daughter was the bully. I was met with frustration when I tried to get answers. I asked multiple times for a parent-to-parent meeting. Mr. Morasti said he would never set up a meeting like that. Why do our school staff feel safe lying to parents and sweeping reports of bullying under the rug? Your sovereign immunity is the problem, which keeps staff from being held accountable. It is good for other things, such as if someone drives over this embankment here and gets killed going down into football stadium. By protecting these staff members who are mandated reporters, you are enabling bullying. You've made it the easiest thing to get away with here. This is not just a district-wide issue, but a nationwide issue. But we are supposed to be different from others. We are Penn-Trafford. You have bullied our children into wearing masks when you know they are not good for them, because you're being bullied by a tyrannical, power-hungry governor who is threatening to fine the district and remove your sovereign immunity, which he has no authority to do this. Accept that authority you are giving him over you. And you guys are supposed to be your own government. The majority of you claim you are Jesus, claim Jesus is your shepherd. I claim that too, but I'm a sheepdog. That is what you are called to be. But right now, the wolf is scaring you into acting like terrified sheep. You are doing everything he wants, and you will continue to do it if he continues threatening you. Rise up and stop complying. Use your authority or step down and allow the sheepdogs to do your jobs. Act like Nehemiah. Any of you actually read it? He was dealing with a tyrannical dictator. And what does he do? He sweet-talked him into letting him end up doing what he wanted to do in the first place. Learn from the Bible. Dare to be a Daniel.
Okay.
Wow. So it evokes the same emotions I had the first time I watched it. I think that that we're probably cut a little bit more from the same cloth than you would think, and I think you handled that way better than I would have handled it.
Yeah.
So walk me back a little bit. So you were getting ready to go on a trip. You get the call. What details did you have at that point? Did you know, like, was it a mutual, like, were you thinking it was a mutual fight? Did you think that the school had intervened at some point before you got there? What was going through your mind?
All I know is this is the fourth time there's been an incident on this bus with my daughter going all the way back to kindergarten. And I'm on my way to a trip up to Laurel Highlands where we're supposed to take 100-pound backpacks with Trail Life, which is a Christian alternative Boy Scouts.
Yeah.
And I hear my daughter got off the bus bleeding from the mouth with a tooth dangling. I get no real explanation from the bus driver. I have no way to contact the school because they don't want to be contacted. I've had to deal with issues with the school bus. And by the way, my daughter is so sweet. She just broke down during the video crying because I squished a stink bug.
Oh,
That's how sweet my daughter is. She doesn't want anything to be killed. And well, unless it's a worm and she's feeding it to her bearded dragon.
nice.
But I I get my wife on the phone and I'm like, you need to call the police now. And my wife's not really thinking. She's panicking because she's there with my daughter flipping out. And I hear
Right.
my daughter screaming. And the only thing I can think of is I hope that driver did something. I hope that driver did something or else I'm gonna rain pain all over him. And
I
you know
mean,
what? This district, they will not give me a copy of this video. They will not give me the name of this guy. So I have to go get a copy of the police report and get in touch with my lawyer and file a lawsuit over this. But people need to realize one thing. You still live in my area.
so what did this school do? I mean, so, obviously, because you said that they contacted your wife. So what she got off the school bus, they saw her, they contacted
No,
your
no,
wife.
no. My wife called me. They never contacted my wife. That
Okay.
driver didn't make a call. He didn't make a report. The school didn't know anything about it. I sent an email off to the principal after I'd made a report with the police. And at 7:20 p.m., while I'm out in the middle of the woods getting lost, we didn't meet up with our group after having to turn around. And he gives me a call when I'm out in the middle of the woods. And that's when I had that conversation where I said, what are you going to do to guarantee the safety of my daughter? You know? And he says, I can't do anything.
What well,
He,
I mean, what was his what was his demeanor about it? Did he seem like he didn't care at all and he just was kind of throwing his hands up like there's nothing I can do, or did he seem like he wished he could do more but was kind of at the realization, what can I do on a school bus? Like, what kind of response was the school giving you as a concerned parent?
I don't know how to even decently uh he sounded like a flower child when he spoke to me. Little hippie on all sorts of different drugs. Oh man, you know, we'll see what's going on. I'm sure there's more to this story. You sure there's more to this story? You need to look into this now. Why did you call me without first viewing the video? Why are you
Right.
talking to me like I'm going to be super happy and I should be calm and relaxed? I'm not going to be relaxed. What is wrong with these people? They are the problem.
And
And
and they did let you view the video, you said?
yeah, they let me view it. The superintendent was there, um, which usually never happens. He usually doesn't want to have to get involved,
Right.
you know. But it's I don't get why they want to act like bullying really isn't an issue. You know, I was born in Flint, Michigan. I'm sure you've heard about that Oxford High School thing. That's 34 miles from where I was born, man. And I mean, that's a crazy situation in itself.
Right.
But due to bullying, it what happens is they're allowed to not really take the school district. They're allowed to not really care, not take it seriously because of their sovereign immunity. They want to shove it under the rug.
Mm-hmm.
If they want to push it aside to handle other things they deem more important, say if a kid's being bullied by 20 kids and the principal gets tired of hearing the reports and says, oh, man up. But you know what? My daughter doesn't need to man up because she's a girl.
Right.
She's 8, almost 9 years old. And she, what do they want me to do? Say, hey, you know what? I'm gonna teach my daughter to beat the snot out of these other kids' faces. I don't need to be teaching my daughter that. I don't need to give her the training I was given when, because she's 8 years old. This is school. When I see a video where not once did this bus driver look back, pull over, stop, say, hey, you know what? What's going on? He never even said, can you guys take your seats? Because it's not safe for you to jump from seat to seat. I was speechless, which usually doesn't happen. It made me so thick. I'm sick. I almost threw up. It's that bad. And these are elementary students.
Have you tried contacting the school bus company themselves?
Yeah, they won't give me a copy of it.
No.
And you know what they said? Oh, we're going to retrain him. I said, you're not going to retrain him. I said, you need to fire this guy. After 22 years, he's not even trying to say anything.
Right.
Like, hey, you know what? When I was a kid, we had to be in our seats before the bus moved. They wouldn't move. And if we were screaming too loudly, the bus driver would pull over and say, look, I can't drive this bus. Well, he'd say other things other than that. But
back when they
down.
wouldn't get sued for saying it.
Yeah. And they didn't have cameras.
Yeah.
But fights didn't happen like this, especially elementary.
Yeah.
I found out some information about the father of this girl. He's got a nice Nazi eagle tattooed on his chest.
Oh, well, that explains
total
it.
junkie. He's on all sorts of drugs.
So so knowing who the father is, have you tried to reach out to the parents personally, or are you just going to wait for like lawyers or whatnot to do that?
It's a hard decision to make right now.
Right.
I'm torn between what to do because I need to keep providing for my children. I don't need to be in jail.
Right. Has the school at least said that they were going to do any disciplinary action, any suspending of the other students?
They suspended the girl for 3 days.
For 3 days.
For 3 days. And her father, I have multiple reports of him sitting outside after those 3 days, waiting to pick up his daughter and bragging about what his daughter did to mine.
Gotta love the classy side of it.
Yeah.
So and you know, it's the world that we live in, and so I'm going to ask the question. I'm not even sure if you know the answer or not, but and actually I thought of it prior to you mentioning the quality of father the other child has. With you being who you are and your family taking the stance that you guys are taking, do you think that, not necessarily am I saying that it was your daughter was a target, but do you think the school's at least lack of caring is because they're like, oh, well, it's this guy and his family, and so do you think there's any type of personnel to it, or do you think that this is probably just how they would handle it with anybody? Just throw their hands up.
I believe whenever they found out, especially the school board, what happened to my daughter, they were terrified. They were terrified that it happened to my daughter. But there is one other thing I left out of this. Back in September, that girl's little sister gave my daughter one of those unicorn-shaped poppets.
Okay.
Then a few days later, on the bus ride home, she threatened to murder my daughter if she didn't bring it back. And so I turned that into the school. I said there needs to be some sort of in-home check to see what's going on with this girl.
Right.
Because it's not normal. Something's not right. I don't know what's going on, but there's got to be something happening at home. because the little sister is second grade. That doesn't normally happen. Hey, that does not normally happen. That's not something a little 7-year-old girl is going to say.
No.
And I have gotten reports from multiple people that this guy has these two girls get into scraps in front of him, like his own personal UFC match. And so I have turned that in. I'm trying to get people to who told me about it to make a report, because this guy, if that's true, he has no business being around children. He has no business walking around free.
Yeah, I mean, and I'm always torn between getting the system involved, CYS and things like that. That is, on one hand, they do some great work. On the other hand, they get involved when they shouldn't get involved.
CYS is one of the most broken systems out there.
Right. So I'm torn when I even think about, it may be the right situation to get them involved.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, just on the base level of it, the children are obviously disturbed at some level.
Yeah.
And whether that's a parental thing, maybe, you can say that he has no an involvement in that. But the children, something's going on at home, whether it's coming from the parents or not. And obviously, if this is an ongoing thing, and you're kind of exhausting your resources. You've tried it with the school where the incident took place. You're not really getting far with that. You have the police report. At some point, maybe some type of involvement with them and the family. I mean, obviously that could escalate things. It's definitely something that at least I would consider talking to your lawyer about, seeing what, because I mean, ultimately you want to protect your daughter.
Yeah.
That's first and foremost. And then after that, obviously, if other children are in harm, then they're just as important
Give it to me.
to look after. So, now what was the date that this happened?
November 5th.
November 5th. So yeah, it's been over a month. Have you made any progress on the police reporting that they've made any progress in contacting and working anything out? Has there been
So
any?
here's what the police do. Because in that video, you saw me say that you were supposed to be your own government.
Mm-hmm.
Once the police go and get minimum data from the district, the school, they turn it over to the school. It's all on the school. Police won't have anything to do with it. That's that sovereign immunity. Here, just take it. Sorry.
That's all right. So, and this, I mean, you would imagine there should be something that can force the school's hand or force the police's hand. I mean, I guess if you wanted to press direct charges, you'd have to go to the magistrate and all
So
that
I'm thinking
stuff.
I'm going to have to sue the bus company, sue the driver too, for
Right.
for not even attempting to render my daughter first aid.
Yeah, I mean, you said in the video that I mean, obviously he should be aware of what's going on when it's that loud. But
When kids are screaming, "There's a fight! There's a fight! She's bleeding! She's
Right.
bleeding! Oh my God! They knocked her tooth out!" And the driver does. I can't even remember him looking back. He didn't even respond to these kids, not once, not once.
Yeah, that I mean, and any way I could look at it, he had, he's, so when you work with children, whether you're in a school bus driver, you have to get your Act 33 and 34 clearances, which say that, you know the importance of working with children. You're not a weirdo or anything like that.
Yeah,
You get all that stuff taken care of.
child abuse clearance.
Right. And so when you're in charge of a bus full of children and you do nothing about their safety, a bus that has seatbelts for one, when people are calling out for, in an emergency situation and you don't do anything about it, you don't report it afterwards. It's not like it's a bunch of 17-year-olds where you're afraid to do something. But then even then, at some point you should report it. This is what happened. There was injuries. There was a fight.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I would say at the very least, he should lose his job.
Yeah.
And anything more than that, I hate to say that the school may not be responsible for what happened on the bus, but they for one, they should show more care, because as a school, you're caring for people's children, and the school buses are set up by them, so there is a sense of responsibility in that, and at least to the point where they would say this school bus driver is not allowed to work our routes anymore.
Yeah.
So there's a couple different things that I could think that would be the route to go. But ultimately, I mean, it's as long as those kids are still in the state of mind that they're in, and they're still in that school, and your daughter's there, you have to just think about her safety first. Have you tried to reach out to any of the major news sources to see if they could spur something along? Because sometimes when they run an article, it gets some traction.
You know who Melanie Gillespie is?
The name
From
sounds familiar.
WPXI?
Yeah.
WPXI Pittsburgh. She reached out to me on Facebook Messenger. She's tried to push it 3 or 4 times. WPXI doesn't want to do the report yet. They did. I spoke to the school board, obviously.
Yeah.
So our school board president 4 years ago, WPXI did a report on how he was charged with bringing firearms to the municipal building where he worked. He was charged with pointing them at people, laughing about pointing firearms at people. And from what I remember hearing years ago, because I heard bits and pieces, but 4 years ago, I wasn't living in the district, so I didn't really pay attention. But I believe some of those firearms were flintlock, but I'm not sure all of them are. So I don't know if they were antique, but either way, it doesn't matter. And
Yeah,
he's
you
an
don't
Air
find 'em.
Force veteran too.
Wow.
He's an Air Force veteran, running around acting like an idiot, laughing at people that he terrified. So
Yeah.
my confidence in the school board was already dropping like a stone in the ocean into the Marinara Trench.
Yeah.
But now it's so deep, it made the Marinara Trench deeper.
So I mean, and it seems like there's there's problems with the school board there. I mean, there's problems with a lot of school boards everywhere else, but I don't know if it's just because I'm more local and I'm paying more attention to it, but there's a lot of problems there, and with obviously starting at the top with him being the president, what are the moms and dads doing? More than just speaking out at the school board meetings. What are you guys trying to do to change the leadership there?
We tried to get 3 people, as we had 3 write-ins for the school board. The thing is when you're not on the ballot, your chances of getting in, it's slim to none. I heard in the country it happened 1 or 2 places for write-ins, but I'm thinking seriously, maybe I ought to go for school board in 2 years.
I think any of you guys need to do something. I'm not too well versed in the legalities of removal of people in school boards and things like that, but
it's only vote out.
Vote out.
Yeah, they won't get rid of them.
Well, I mean, I guess the next best thing would be to, if people pulled their kids out of their school,
absolutely.
You got to hit them where it hurts. When they put the masks in place here in Freedom, PA, we pulled the kids out that day, and they'll never.
My kids are out.
Yeah,
my kids are out. I'm done.
Good. So, and that's the way. And that's the way you do it. I don't know what you're doing for school, but we put ours into Reach Cyber School. Because then the money doesn't go to the school district here either anymore. So hopefully something happens. I'm going to reach out to a couple of my news contacts and see my major news contacts and see if they'll try and run a story on it. Sometimes, just even when they're looking into doing a story and they're checking out and they're calling places to get interviews, sometimes that spurs something in and of itself.
Well, I've thrown it in comment sections online on the Hodge twins.
Yeah.
I've thrown it on Glenn Beck, Tucker Carlson. There's a Donald Trump page. I even did it to Unbelievable Facts and WTAE Pittsburgh. And I've probably done it about 50 or 60 times. And I'm going to continue doing it until some of these people realize, hey, man, maybe we ought to put this on our show, because this dad, he's not stopping. He's going to keep posting this. And a few of them I'm going to post this until it gets bigger attention. Because you know what? It's not just a district-wide issue. That sovereign immunity protecting staff members who suppress the reports of bullying, it is a nationwide issue. You wonder why there's so many things. I remember hearing about Columbine and thinking,
Yeah,
man, that would never happen anywhere near to us. That would never happen anywhere near here in Pittsburgh. And I was attending Plum Borough School District. And you know what happened? Just, I don't know, 5 or 6 years ago? Franklin Regional.
Yep.
Franklin Regional. You know what?
Yeah.
It's got to stop. You know what? One thing they could teach these kids in school that would help stop some of those situations: grab a fire extinguisher. They're usually dry chem. If you have a kid doing some sort of flip out situation,
Yeah.
you spray it in the face and you beat them over the head with it.
I mean, I think that would solve a lot of people's problems these days.
Well, I mean, they got to do something, because if they're not going to do anything to stop the bullying, maybe minimum standards they can do is give them a little training on what to do in an active shooter incident, because they're going to do their minimum standards. They don't really care. They're going to wait. They're going to go as slow as they can on their PT test every 6 months, because they don't want to do it faster. You know what I'm talking about, the military PT test. That's what they're going to do. Minimum standards, man.
Well, I hopefully, we can get this out to some more people.
I appreciate it.
I think through the last couple of days of us chatting and stuff like that, I'm definitely looking forward to getting out on the motorcycles and riding next year and fishing and everything else. So definitely keep in touch. And I'll try and send this out as many people as possible, and I'm gonna keep in touch. If anything new breaks in it, anything crazy good or crazy bad, definitely let me know, and we'll get you back on the show. But I thank you for taking the time out, and thank you for your service as well.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Did you serve too?
No, I didn't serve. I come from a family of a long line of family of servers. But I do my part here in America.
Yeah, so I appreciate you being a patriot. That's a nice hat you got there, bud.
Thanks. All right. Thanks a lot for coming on the show, and we'll talk to you soon.
All right, bud. You have a great day or
too.
Night. Yeah, it's not. Yeah. It's Friday. It's Friday night.
Yep. And that was Anders Selvig. Thank you guys for tuning in. We are going on a short break, and we will be back in about 15 minutes on the next show live here with Monica Smith. She is in Australia, and I don't know if you guys been keeping up to date on what's going on in Australia, but the lockdowns there are absolutely insane. It's we think they were bad in America, where you weren't supposed to go anywhere, but you kind of did, and the streets were kind of empty, and you kind of drove past the police and they didn't really do much about it, and a store would kick you out here and there. They're being thrown in jail, being shot with rubber bullets. All types of violence is happening in Australia. So see you back here in about 15 minutes. And other than that, stay true, stay proud, stay patriot.
News, current events, politics, and everything in between. This is your #1 source for finding out the truth. Never censored, never apologetic, and always patriotic. You're tuned in to the Patriot Perspective with the people's proud patriot, Alan Lee.